Hey guys, I'm Megan Young and welcome back to my channel. It's my third video and second part on stigma. Now you may notice the background is different again, but that just means I am back at my apartment. Formerly known as my apartment, it is now known as the Roach Motel. And I also have 22 Roach Motels, which are doing not a damn thing because of them, and them. Yeah, no one is keeping their place clean. So my apartment is infested with roaches. And I have what is known as, I termed, roachophobia. So, yeah, if you hear me scream, I saw a roach. If you hear me say obscene language with a can of spray trying to kill it, it's a roach. I don't care about spiders anymore or anything else. Roaches, I care. They scare the shit out of me. Okay, now it's almost 6. I haven't slept for 2 weeks, so I now have actual bags. Anyway, I didn't get into a little bit of history on epilepsy that I should have done in the first video, and I apologize, so let me do this real quick. Did you know that Julius Caesar had epilepsy? No? Oh, okay. Well, Julius Caesar had epilepsy, and only one other person that I know of, his name is Plutarch. No, not from the Hunger Games. But thank you, Philip Seymour Hoffman. You were ingenious in that movie. Plutarch was a friend or an ally, whatever you want to call him, that helped Caesar whenever he would have a seizure. And he had grand mal seizures. So that's the kind where you fall down, you convulse, you fall down, your whole body does it. And I don't know if he was incontinent. I can't tell you that. I don't know if it's in the history books, but what I do know is that Plutarch would say to the people whenever there was anything serious needed to be spoken about, or there was a meeting, or something was going on, he would say, hey guys, Julius Caesar isn't really feeling up to his best, so he is not going to be able to attend this event, whatever the hell is going on. And of course that was paraphrased. But that was the best I can do, paraphrased. And he also, if it were in public, he would, if Caesar fell down, he would say, you know what, he's just feeling sick. It's the same thing over again. He's feeling sick, he's feeling faint. And whenever he was done, he had very clever ways of disguising his seizures, and I really have no idea how the hell he did it. But he did. Now the other person is a psychologist, a discredited one at that. But I do not believe he should be discredited for everything. Now, this person is named Freud. He had 2 theories on what people with epilepsy, because you didn't have a name back then, what was going on with them when their bodies would convulse and be in weird positions and stiff ones, kind of like any movie where their body was twisted in weird pretzel-shaped ways. I have no idea. Yeah. Okay. So, Freud said we were either possessed, which is hilarious to me. Someone call an exorcist. Someone call a priest. We need an exorcism. No. The priest might die. The priest always dies. We can't have a priest here. I mean, if they did that back in the day and a priest died, that's probably how The Exorcist started, or The Omen, or anything you want to think of. But The other theory was that we were insane. Yeah. Although possession was more common than insanity, insanity went for more people who were schizophrenic, unfortunately, than people who had epilepsy. There were no names back then, and no one knew how to deal with all of this stuff. So you know what they did with people with epilepsy? I'm not sure about people with schizophrenia, but we were killed. Yeah, we were killed and experimented on. All the fun stuff you don't want to have. And ow, God. Okay. So yeah, there was that. Now, I got into liability a little bit back in the last video. So I want to do that one more time because I have one more thing that I would like to discuss. Kind of two more things, but let's go with what is first. I did not ask the two most important questions. Now, the first one is what people with epilepsy and or seizures ask ourselves. And the second one is usually from someone else. It's either used as a statement or a question. What we ask ourselves is this our fault? Or, what did we deserve, or what did we do to deserve this? But it's mostly, is this our fault? And then we go to the second question. Sometimes it's reversed. It depends on the situation. But is it our fault? What do you think? Because I think no, it's not our fault. Now, what we get from other people is, actually, let me put that one on hold. Because I have a little story for is it our fault? And it just has to go with why it's not. Okay, so it has more to do with when I was a child, and I barely remember this, but I've been told many times by my mom about this story. Of course, I don't remember all of the details, but I remember some feelings and some situations, bits and pieces. My backstory will cover this in like the 5th video, hopefully. But what happened was that when I was in elementary school, when the school found out I had epilepsy, and this is how I imagine it. Okay, so that's what epilepsy is. Gotcha. And that's what happens when your daughter has a seizure? Alright, I got it. Yeah, she can't participate in recess. Which meant I couldn't participate on the rings. I couldn't even go down the slide. It's because they had a ladder going up to the slide. And I couldn't get on the jungle gym. Actually, that one I kind of agree with now. But, I mean, do you know what not participating and watching all of your friends have fun during a time when you are supposed to be having fun too does to a child? It creates an inferiority complex that leads into adulthood. And I do have one. It's just it's about deciding, you know what, I'm not going to be inferior. And that's what the bar story was about. It's like, no, you don't treat me that way. But people treat you that way all of the time. And you can't get away from it. There is no getting away from being talked down to, feeling inferior. In my last video covered a lot of the inferiority stuff. But what I'm going to say next is about the statement and the question. That's why I wanted to put it on hold. Although, I am so freaking sorry. My brain is on the fritz. So, either the school told my mom or I told my mom. And the funny thing about this is my mom and I are quite alike. So she was really pissed off and went down to the school. And this is how stigma is created and inferiority complexes. So my mom went down to the school and talked it to the legality people and brought up, hopefully, anyway, I don't quite remember this part, this subject. Any child, whether or not they have a disorder, who is playing on your equipment on your school grounds and gets hurt, is considered a liability. See, there's that fun word, and I experienced it when I was in elementary school. So I wasn't called it to my face, and I barely remember this for a very good reason that will be explained in hopefully the 5th video, like I said. But, I mean, really, any child. Do people not think about this? What people see is person, disorder, liability, bells going off, light bulbs going on. Woo, 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 woo. Yeah, it feels like shit. Now, I felt like shit watching my friends. And it's funny because when I actually got to go to recess, because of my mom, thank you, Mom, because of all of this shit, I got to get hit in the face many times with a tetherball. Hey, liability! By the tetherball, not the epilepsy. I think it's kind of funny now. Well, the way people make it into a stigma is by asking the next question or using a statement, which is what I was going to get to, 2 or 3 times now? Okay, so the question is this your fault? And the statement version is, this is your fault. There is no is. It's just, this is your fault. And you know what? None of it is our fault at all. It never will be. I'm sorry. You can't say shit. Alright, and do you know how people make us feel like shit and talk down to us and keep us in this inferiority complex state? Well, they ask us questions, and I've had questions from my mom like this and some friends, and that's okay because I don't get angry with my friends. I understand. I get more frustrated with my mom because I've tried to explain to her many times. To my friends, they already know. I've explained it enough to where I don't need to explain it anymore. They're just asking to be sure. They just want to know that I'm okay. And that's what my mom wants too. But the way my mom puts it is like, I don't know how to do anything, and it feels like crap. It's like I'm doing something wrong all the time. Friends, not so much. So, the questions we get asked: did you take your pills? Did you take your pills on time? Did you take the correct dosage? And what time did you take your pills? And I know that's the same as, did you take your pills on time? But it's like a questionnaire. You get the same questions so they know, or so they make sure you give them the same answer, because if you give them the same answer, then You're golden. You're fine. And then the last question, did you get enough sleep? And it's so funny because it's like, well, yes, I took my pills. Yes, I took them on time. Yes, I took the right dose. Yes, I took them at 10 o'clock like I'm supposed to. And no, I do not get enough sleep. I never get enough sleep. How many times do I have to say this part? I have said it. It's 6:11. Bags. Still not sleeping. Why? Because my brain is still awake. And why is my brain still awake? Wait to the 5th video. The 5th video was actually going to be my backstory. But actually, no. Sorry. Wait to the 4th video. Just wait to the 4th video. Alright. Now, that makes all of that I just listed. I'm sorry, my brain is just slowing down. Those are 2 ways. Oh, holy crap. Yeah, my brain sucks. 2 ways to make us feel like shit. One is unintentional, and one is intentional. The intentional is asking all of those questions. Now, I understand when doctors do it too, because they need to know this shit. But if you have a crappy doctor, then it's just like, I don't want to answer anything you want to know, because your bedside manner sucks. Like the doctor I mentioned before. Now, the stigma of it sucks. And I do have another thing that I can mention that goes along with stigma and liability. I did think of another liability thing, and I knew I would. Okay, so jobs. I briefly mentioned it before. I cannot work. I have never had a job. I said that. And I also said when I was controlled, there's a reason I'm repeating this, that I applied and their application said no experience needed or necessary, whatever. And then they said, oh, you don't have enough experience after I said I had epilepsy. See, what they want to know are a lot of questions I cannot answer. They want to know, what kind of seizures do you have? How long do they last? How severe are they? Are you okay afterwards? Can you still work? Or do you have to go home? And do they scare people? Are you going to get hurt? Now, see, I had this written down because I knew I was going to forget all these questions. So what kind are they? I could tell you what kind they are, but it's going to be a long story because there's different kinds. How long do they last? Well, I did state that normally 30 seconds. I think I stated it anyway. I'm very tired. But they can range from 10 seconds to an hour. How severe? I have no idea how severe it is. I could have a 10-second seizure, but then afterwards I could have another 10-second seizure and another one and another one and another one. That is what is known as cluster seizures. When you have a seizure one after another, that's a cluster. I mean, come on. You have a number of things. What are you going to call it? It's a cluster. It seriously is. Are you okay afterwards? Do you know what the general answer to that is? Yes, I'm fine. I'll be okay in time. I don't know how much time. I don't know if it's going to be 5, 10, 15, 20. You know, go by fives. I don't know how long it is going to take for my brain to get back to normal and for my body to get back to normal. For my body to get back to normal, my brain has to get back to normal. I have to be able to concentrate afterwards. I have to not be confused. And I know I sound really frustrated about this, and I am, because this is what I live on a daily basis. Or this is how I live. What and how I live on a daily basis. And I'm sure other people do too. And people with the different disorders have different symptoms that they deal with on a daily basis. See, it's very difficult. And a lot of these people may not be able to work. I have heard stories of other people with epilepsy that have lost jobs, or people with different disorders that couldn't work because they were in pain. They were in so much pain they physically could not do it. And then there's mentality. It's like, and when I say mentality, I don't mean thinking. I mean, are you confused? Can you concentrate? It's just the two things I said before. Is your brain up to par with what you have to do? And it's very hard to answer these questions. Are you going to have to go home? I don't know. I really don't know. I wish I could answer that question for you. I do. Does it scare people? This is hard. This is what is really freaking hard about epilepsy, seizures, many disorders, I'm sure, but especially epilepsy and seizures. Because if a person hasn't seen a seizure except in a movie or a TV show, which I will get to in a second, they will be scared. And I'm pretty sure even if they saw it, they would be scared no matter what. So what we have to do after we have a seizure, when our brain is not back to normal, or our body, we have to comfort the people that witnessed us having a seizure. So while we feel like shit, we have to make sure the other person feels at ease with the situation. And that makes us feel worse, because I'm going to quote from a country song. Actually, I'm not going to, because I can't remember the quote. Oh, it makes me feel bad that I can't make you feel better. That's what it is. It makes me feel bad I can't make you feel better. Yeah. We have to comfort you. I know we have to comfort you to make you feel at ease and not awkward or scared or nervous, anxious, whatever. Just make you comfortable. But when we do this, it's hard on us, because it makes us feel nervous and anxious and maybe even a little depressed, because we can't focus on ourselves to get better or just relax and let it happen. We have to work at it. We have to take the time to think, to say, hey, you know what? I just had a seizure, and yeah, I'm fine. What's funny or not funny is that we're not fine. We're not. I mean, right now, I feel like I'm comforting you, but I'm actually talking to a computer right now. So it's a little ridiculous. I know people are going to watch these videos and be like, calm down. But it's really hard to, when you think back to every situation where a person has seen you have a seizure and they ask, are you okay? And all you want to say is no, or I'll be okay in time. But then you get asked, what's in time? Like, how long is in time? And you have to say, I don't know, but I don't know is not a good enough answer, so you have to come up with something. Now, my answer to people is yes, I'm okay, I'm fine, I'm good, I'm good. And that's just so people don't worry anymore and stop asking questions and let me actually try to focus on myself. And I'm sorry if this, or to my friends who watch this, I'm sorry if me saying this makes you feel bad, but that is what it's like. And for the people that do have this disorder, or seizures, or any disorder where you feel the same way, no, I get it. I definitely get it, and you're not alone. You aren't. Now, okay, the last thing, movies and TV shows. Movies and TV shows make us feel like shit when they talk about seizures. Now, they portray it in the worst way possible. They think of the worst seizure they can think of, which is a grand mal seizure. So you're watching people fully convulse, right? Their entire body is convulsing. And what? You see foam at the mouth or something dripping, something white. I'm sorry, we're not Cujo. We don't have rabies. So take that shit out. No. Yes, I do get worked up over this because it's very upsetting to me. So, and a lot of my favorite TV shows have said that, if not all. I think Buffy the Vampire Slayer said it once. And that was it. And if I watch it again and didn't say it at all, then I feel dumb because it's my favorite TV show. But Supernatural has said 2 seizure lines, I believe. It's like, we got to get out of here, I'm going to have a seizure. I don't know. I don't know the actual line, but, you know, TV shows have various lines like that. Yeah. Writers, please, stop. This is where I wish I was actually in film, and I should have chosen it over psychology, or I should do both, because you're stigmatizing it even more. When you're showing people fully convulsing and not showing different types of seizures, you're just stigmatizing it to one seizure, and that's what normal people are going to expect when you have one. They're going to expect you to fall on the ground, fully convulse, and not know what the hell to do. So, if any writers see this, please stop putting this in TV shows. I know you want to try to make it as interesting as possible, but doing it that way, it's really not the way to go, and it shows your ignorance, which is pretty much the definition of lack of knowledge about epilepsy and or seizures. So please stop that. Now, with Logan for the movie section. Now, I saw Logan, and I did not know what to expect at all. So I'm going to spoil it for you guys. If you don't want to know, skip this part. And I don't know how far along, but I'm going to say an email at the end. Okay, so Professor X is now older. It's Old Man Logan, too. So you can see where it's going. But thing about it is that Professor X now has seizures. And I'm just going to say seizures because I can't fairly say epilepsy. He has seizures. but he takes one of the most powerful medications for epilepsy. Okay. Anyway, he actually killed everyone but Logan with a seizure. And it's in a comic. So if you've read the comics, you already know what happens. But it was really sad. I mean, I get that it's supernatural. A supernatural, I'm going to say it's a supernatural thing, but that's not the actual genre it should be in. Right now, I just don't care to think of the actual genre. Fantasy? Sorry. I can't help myself. So, his seizures killed everyone but Logan. And there's this scene, like throughout the entire movie, I was having seizures anyway, so my mood was not the best. I couldn't stop having seizures, even with Ativan, which is supposed to stop seizures. It didn't. But I watched this movie, and I was like on the verge of tears every time he was having a seizure, because knowing what an actual seizure feels like, you're like, shit. And there's a scene, Logan's going up an elevator and he has to hurry because Professor X is having a seizure and people are trying to kill him too. But he has to go give him his medication. And what's going on is it doesn't affect mutants like Logan as powerful. It affects mutants and humans. So, thing about that is that let's skip to where he gives him medication, then he stops seizing, they go down an elevator, and to all the humans are in a hotel. He says, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. I actually know what that feels like. I don't know why I feel it necessary to apologize, but I do, because I feel like I need to make people feel better about this. And, you know, I guess that's the entirety of it. That's my reason. It's not to make myself feel okay with it. It's to say, you know what, I'm sorry if you feel bad, but this happens. Now, that part, I totally got the Waterworks card from Monopoly. I owned that card at that part. Because when he was apologizing, it resonated. And even though his seizures were grand mal, but it was also through telepathy, and it was fake and all of that shit, it doesn't get rid of the feelings you have when you actually have seizures. And that's the unfortunate thing about it. You can't make people okay with it. You can't say, I'm sorry, and then have it be okay. And then, you know, it causes you to tear up. Alright, so it's after the 30-minute mark. If you guys don't want to watch, you don't have to. I know this is long. But I'm going to say one last thing because I don't even know if I remember if I said it in my last video, even though I watched it a million times and still can't remember crap. So it's going to the 35 mark. I have an email. It's called epilecture, so epilecture@gmail.com. You can email your thoughts, your feelings, your comments, your critiques. You could even do it in the comments, but if you're not comfortable with it, feel free to email me at this and I will get back to you. If there is something you want me to talk about or something you want to know in specific, email me at epilecture. Sorry, that was wrong. Email me. Actually, no, that was right. Email me at epilecture@gmail.com. epilecture@gmail.com. Felt like it needed repeating. Don't know why. You could have just watched the video over again. Alright guys, well I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and I apologize for the video being way too long. Alright, see you later. Bye.